Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about the gameplay loop of New Genesis and why the game feels so unfulfilling to actually play. But before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel, I'm trying to hit 50,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you guys could hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. For those who are new to New Genesis, the gameplay loop is simply grinding. There's a lot of combat, there's a lot of grinding in order to get better gear, in order to get more resources so that you can buy fashion, to accessorize your character, to upgrade your gear, to increase your battle power, in order to increase your proficiency while you are fighting outside and killing mobs so that you can do it more efficiently and do it faster. It's very similar to Monster Hunter, Destiny 2, Diablo 2, as well as Genshin Impact in the sense that you are constantly trying to improve your characters so that you can hit bigger numbers and farm things more efficiently and faster. That way you can generate more resources faster and faster and faster. And this is the gameplay loop of New Genesis. So why does New Genesis feel so barren and feel so unrewarding or unsatisfying compared to the other games that I talked about, such as Monster Hunter, Diablo 2, Destiny 2, as well as Genshin? Well, the reason, at least the reason that I think, is simply because there's not a lot of flexibility. Normally, when we play Diablo 2, for example, you're farming for legendaries, for set bonuses, and these legendary pieces as well as these set pieces change gameplay mechanics, change the way that you play your class, or change the way that you play the game. And this is what I feel New Genesis is lacking. For example, right now we just have the Fixa system, so there's Fixa 1 to Fixa 5. It's simply a stat stick. Just increases your damage by 5%, increases your defense by 5%, so forth and so on. Is just flat stats, which isn't anything game changing because it doesn't change the way that you approach the game. But for example, let's say that we ditch the Fixa system, or we keep it and we add another layer of augments that you can get from weapons. Let's say that we can get legendary weapons, and these weapons change the way that your abilities work. For example, the Katana Braver currently has a main problem, and that is gap closing. Let's say that there is a legendary katana out there that is a 5-star weapon or a 4-star weapon, which makes all of your photon arts gap closers. Whenever you cast a photon art on top of your regular animation, it also gap closes. And the higher the level of the weapon, or the higher the rarity of that specific stat, the further the distance you can gap close. And that is something that changes the way that you play the class, because now you have this gap closing ability. You can maybe build an evasion style katana assassin-y type of build, or maybe you have a different augment which increases your damage by 200% if you do a counter, or whenever you counter you deal 200% extra damage. Then you have a different type of build over there. You can go a full counter build where instead of just constantly attacking, you're timing perfect counters so that you deal massive amounts of damage, and it's more of a burst type of build. Or maybe even have a legendary bow which allows you to deal additional damage whenever you use the second charge on your charge shots. So maybe if you do consecutive charge shots, you could build your damage multiplier up so that you deal a one-shot KO build, where it's like you're constantly one-shotting enemies with the second charge, so you're sacrificing mobility, you're sacrificing defense, you take extra damage, but you kill everything in one shot as long as you're safe for that 3 to 5 seconds that it takes to charge up the bow. And this gives a lot more complexity, a lot more freedom, a lot more customizability to the class itself. So it makes the class feel a lot more fresh, a lot more interesting, and players have a lot more incentive to farm for these weapons or farm for these armors because they give all of these special affixes which change the class for the better, gives you more customizability, more personalization towards your specific playstyle. And I feel like this is what New Genesis is lacking right now in the terms of loot, because right now a lot of people have lost the drive to continuously grind these combat sectors simply because there isn't much reward to be gained from the hours of endless grinding. Because at the end of the day, what do we have to show for all this endless grinding? We can only say, oh look, I deal 2% more damage than you, or I deal 5% more damage than you at the best case scenario. Most people don't think sinking hundreds of hours into grinding just to get a 5% damage increase is worth it. Most people think that is not worth the time because, heck, we might as well just wait for the new 5-star rarity weapons and gain 10% more DPS increase, right? So a lot of people would rather just not play the game because they're like, well, I'm already got my 4-star rarity weapon with maybe a Phantasy or a Phantasy, and I'm happy with that because I don't need that extra 3% damage. Why bother going through hundreds of hours just to get 3%? It's not worth the time investment. But if legendary gear drops and it changes the way the class works, then a lot of people will be a lot more motivated to go out and grind these things out. Another thing that I think would be very attractive as well is cosmetics. Make sure that you have special camos which can drop in different regions. For example, if you want like a cyberpunkish type of katana, then you farm at Vanford Laboratories and have special camos that only drop in Vanford Laboratories, and maybe even special outfits. That way it gives people even more incentive to grind because they want to look nice, they want to look fabulous. And you don't even need to announce the entire drop pool to give us that sense of mystery of like, oh, I wonder what could drop here, and then people will start to farm. Maybe have some Monster Hunter looking armor drop from Mount Magnus, and then in Rezel Forest maybe have some like ghillie suits or something that fits the region that you're farming. That way you constantly farm that area and you can show off to your friends, look, I got this ghillie suit because I farm Rezel Forest a lot, and look, it matches this ambience really well. And when you go to Vanford Laboratories, you can switch out to your cyberpunk type of look and be like, yeah man, I've also been grinding this place out a lot. And you can just kind of incentivize people to farm at all these different areas because there's all of these different rewards which incentivize people to play the game, to go out there, to kill mobs, to grind for things, because you never know what you can get. And I feel like this is what New Genesis is lacking. Right now in New Genesis, it's just, here you go, there's Phantasy 1 to Phantasy 5, and that's it. And it's very, very linear and it's very boring, right? We don't want boring. We want something fantastic, something spicy, something beautiful. We want cosmetic items that we can farm for. We want legendary items which change the way that we play our class. And we want legendary items that look cool. We want like a really cool katana. Maybe have a flaming katana if you farm at Mount Magnus. Have a lightning katana in Vanford Laboratories. Have an acid katana in Rezel Forest. I don't know. Just mix things up. Make things interesting, make people want to grind things out and play the game because they want to deck out their characters, they want things to look cool, they want to feel powerful, and they want that customizability for their classes. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel, it really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it interesting. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
What can I say except you're welcome, for the heels